Hey folks, Carl here and welcome to episode 6 of Eduard's BF109G2 and we're on to masking. Okay folks, so we are going to need to mask the back section. We're going to need to mask the nose, the underside of the wings. Now I'm not sure if this one had the top of the wings done as well. Yep, so we're going to do top and the bottom of the wings. So we have our Tamiya masking tape, and this stuff, although it's low tack and low stick, it can still have the potential to pull the paint off your model. So the best way to make this a little bit less tacky is to stick it to your bench, take a bit off, peel it back up again, be careful because it will curl up, and stick it to your bench a few times. Yeah, this will get rid, hopefully, of the tackiness enough that it will pull off your paint like so. So it's a little bit less tacky now. It's still sticky but less sticky, if that makes any sense. So again, I'm going to stick this back to the bench. We're just going to cut it off in strips and lengths that we need. So we're going to tape off this side and then this side. So we just need a piece yay long and the same again. So I'll take this up and then we will just line it up and stick it down. Other side, we actually want the paint there. So there we go. Stick it along the line and that will do us. Got to be careful when we turn this model upside down because we've got this, I've already knocked it off a couple of times, this sticking up here, and it's very prone to falling off. Like I say, I've already done it 2 or 3 times, so we should put this on there just to hold it while we stick this on. So there we go, that is masked and ready to paint. We will put a little bit more down here just in case we get some overflow. So I'm going to get all of this masked up and we'll talk again in a moment. Okay folks, that is us all masked. We have back section ready, the wingtips done, and of course the underside of the nose, which was a little bit awkward around this part here and here. So that is now ready for paint. We have our paint here. It's a brand new pot, so I'm going to go and prep this, get it all mixed up nice and well with the badge air stirrer, and I shall see you in the booth in a moment. Okay folks, that is us in the booth. The yellow is mixed, airbrush is ready, compressor is on. Now we've got this set at around 14 psi for spraying this stuff with, but I've also got a choke on my airbrush, so if we fully open that, and then I want to dial this in slightly just to take a little bit more, it's like a little bit more of a fine control, and you might be able to hear it as it throttles off the air. There we go, and there's nothing coming through now, so I want to open that probably so it's round about down to 10 psi. Fully open, fully closed. We want to come back up a bit, and there's the compressor kicking in. There's not a huge amount of pressure on this. If you've got a better pressure control on your compressor, then I would recommend doing it there, but I'm doing it with this small choke on the airbrush. So we're ready to spray, so we shall get a little bit of yellow into our cup. We'll also get this out and we will do a small quick test spray to make sure everything is in order with the airbrush. Tiny little bit, bottom of the cup. Really quick, very small test spray, and there we are. Pretty good. So may very well be enough in here. So we're going to spray this away from ourselves, just because we haven't masked up the whole model. We don't want anything going on where it shouldn't. So very small amount to start with. The other side. Yellow's not the best colour for spraying. Very, very blotchy. Come back to that side in a moment. If you can see that, even though I haven't got very much pressure on it, it's really putting the yellow down quite thick. So we're going to let these wingtips dry a little bit before we blow some air on them. I'm going to do this centre panel. Okay folks, there we go. We have our yellow accents on And now we are going to leave that to dry for at least 6 or 7 hours, probably more, probably into tomorrow before we do anything else. Okay folks, that is this paint dry enough to start removing this masking tape. So let's see how good the masking has been. Try and get this tape off without ripping off, should I say, any of the previous paint. It's just a matter of taking our time, taking it off nice and slowly. So there is the nose section taken off. Let's zoom in a bit, make it a little bit easier. So there's the nose section, and that has not turned out too bad at all. So we shall continue. Okay, there's the wingtips done. Again, I was expecting some small amount to bleed through the tape, but so far, so good. Well, there's our first bit of issue. We've just peeled off a little bit of photo etch. Thankfully we managed to save it. We'll have to put a dab of glue under there. A small bit of photo etch here has come away, so we're going to have to stick that back on in a moment. But there's a bit of tape there. There is the yellow band around the back. Again, absolutely no bleed whatsoever. So I'm pretty chuffed with that. We've now got a bit of colour to the aircraft. So I'm going to go get this piece stuck back on, and then we are on to, we shall get these painted up and the back wheel painted up, and we are then on to decals. So I shall be back in a moment. Okay folks, the yellow is now dry, and we have started to apply some Tamiya's Sky XF21 to the underside of this model. You can see it on the back section here. This part is done and this part isn't, and you can see the difference. This has been thinned using Ultimate Airbrush Thinner to a ratio of probably around about 10, maybe 12 to 1. There's hardly any paint in here at all. Just to show you, this back section here has had 3 coats. So it's quite thin. It's almost like a filter, but it's not a filter, so to speak. We've masked off the front where we don't want it to go over, and we've masked off the sides here as well. Obviously the back section's already done, and you can just about to see where the change is. So I'm going to go off, get this painted, and we'll be back to show you what it looks like. Talk to you in a moment. Okay folks, I thought I'd just show you. We've now put 1 coat on there. It's still wet. And if we bring you up to the camera a little bit, that is one coat, just to show you how thin this paint is. So to get to this point, we need to let this dry and then add a second coat, let it dry again and add a third. So a little bit long-winded, nice and thin, and then you can put on as many coats as you need to get the colour you want. So I shall wait for this to dry and carry on and talk to you in a moment. Okay folks, that is now the underside done and dry. So we have that slightly green tint underneath, and you can see the difference between the top and the bottom. We can still see the mottling through that green. So that is all dry now. All we have left to do on here now is to paint these parts and the back wheel and the engine exhausts, and we are then ready for decals. So I am going to get, oh, we also almost forgot to paint up the wheels as well with a slight green undercarriage, because obviously these are going to be sitting on here. So almost forgot them, but they are done, and the propeller is also done as well now and ready to go on. So I'm going to get those few bits and pieces painted up and we'll be back in a moment. Okay folks, as you can see, we've not started the decaling yet, but we have gone and finished all of the rest of the painting. The back wheel is painted. We've painted these and this, and we've also gone and we painted in the engine. There's just a little bit of gunmetal grey and a little bit of, what is it now, hull red over the top, just to give it a little bit of a rusted kind of look. So it looks a little bit rough at the moment, but it's all got to be washed yet. So also we need to create some sort of aerial that goes between this spot and this spot, and I've seen a lot of people where they use a little bit of string or cotton or something like that, but I thought, why not stretch a little bit of sprue. It stretches to whatever thickness you want it, and it'll be easier to stick in place with just a little bit of, to me, extra thin. So when we come to put this on, we'll see if that idea actually works or not. So I'm not sure how long this video is. As normal, it's obviously it's recorded over several days, so I'm going to call this video here, and when we come back we will be on to decals and then gloss coat, weathering, and of course the diorama, which I have already started. The base is, the actual picture frame is made up, so we'll see that in the next episode. So as always, thank you very much for watching. Be good, be safe, and of course keep making models, and we will catch you next time. Ta-ta.